All successful men and women possess one outstanding characteristic, and that is their ability to make prompt decisions and to persist in carrying those decisions through to completion. A distinguished industrialist once told me that in his 50 years' experience in dealing with men and women in the commercial and industrial fields, he found that all those who failed had one characteristic in common. It was that they hesitated to make decisions. They vacillated and wavered. Furthermore, when they did make decisions, they were not persistent in adhering to those decisions. The power to decide and to choose is the foremost quality and the highest prerogative of man. Man's capacity to choose and to initiate what is chosen reveals his power to create as a son of the infinite. I've had a letter from a young man dramatizing the power of decision. He came to a clear-cut decision in his mind, knowing that an almighty power would back up that decision. He wanted a Volkswagen automobile, knowing that as he decreed it with feeling, his deeper mind would respond in ways he knew not of. This is what he said: "I came to a decision to purchase a car. I did not have the required amount of money. I decided to trust my deeper mind, and I dismissed the problem from my mind, knowing my subconscious had the answer." On April the 8th, a Friday night, a friend asked me if I would go to a teenager's fair, and I decided to go on Sunday night. A car was being given away that night. I had a chance of 35,000 to 1 to win. My name was selected, and I won the dream car of my mind, a Volkswagen. I know the reason I got the car was my trust and faith in my deeper mind to solve the problem of a car, for a car is an idea. As I continue to use the truths of the infinite, my life is now in complete harmony. I would like to thank you for opening my eyes to this supreme power. Seeing you each Sunday gives me what I need to go through the week. Your thoughts and words are giving me and my family a better life. Philip Brennott, West Los Angeles, California, is one of our ushers, and you can see him on Sunday morning. A young woman once told me that she felt lonesome, baffled, and frustrated because she couldn't decide whether or not she should marry. Can you imagine that? Her mother was very domineering and objected to every young man in whom she was interested. This young woman had lost all initiative and power of decision, which result in loneliness, frustration, misery, and thraldom. In other words, she put herself in the house of bondage. At my suggestion, she began to make one decision after another, whereas previously her mother had made all decisions for her. She decided to get an apartment for herself, purchase her own clothes, buy her shoes, and she decided to furnish the apartment the way she wanted it. She came to a decision to paint the apartment in the way she wanted it also, without asking anybody. She decided to take up dancing, swimming, and golf. She got into the habit of making all decisions for herself. She finally decided to marry a wonderful man, without consulting her mother or anybody else, but just following the dictates of her own heart. She discovered that it's never too late to start making decisions and to live your own life in a wonderful way. Remember, it is never too late to bring order to a disordered mind or to disordered affairs by coming to logical decision and letting those decisions stand. The following letter shows the faith of a woman in her own mental processes and in her ability to decide and stick to her decision, knowing that her mind is one with the infinite mind, for there's only one mind common to all individual men. She said, "A few years ago I had a serious automobile accident. The doctors said he had never seen a neck and back broken in so many places, and he doubted I would live. I came to a decision, and I decided I would live and be healed by the power of the infinite, which made me. I knew all the power of the Godhead would respond to my decision. As I had heard you say many times, it is done unto you according to your decision. I asked for prayer ministry, and I claimed frequently that the infinite healing presence was making me whole and perfect, and a marvelous healing followed. I had been told that I would have to wear a body and neck brace for several months and perhaps a year. I wore the brace only a few weeks, and there is nothing wrong with my neck and back now. My heart is full of gratitude. I know it is done unto you according to your decision. I decided to be healed, and the infinite healing presence responded accordingly. As I was talking one day with a prominent pharmacist, he mentioned that life with his business and professional complications and its attendant confusion often makes decisions difficult, but that he had mastered what he believed to be the ideal method of arriving at the right decision and the correct thing to do. He said that his favorite biblical quotation is, "Be still and know that I am God." That's from the 46th Psalm. Then he added, "I dwell on the fact that God or infinite intelligence indwells me, and I focus all my attention on the infinite presence within me. I imagine that the infinite is answering me. I relax and let go completely and feel myself surrounded by the love and the light of the infinite. I also feel myself immersed in God's quietness and stillness. Inwardly, as clear as crystal, the answer pops into my mind, and it is always right for the occasion." This pharmacist has evolved a wonderful technique for receiving answers to problems and for coming to right decisions with the infinite power within him. Thomas Carlyle once said, "Silence is the element in which great things fashion themselves." This is a prayer which I have given to thousands of men and women for guidance in making decisions. They have received marvelous results and have been blessed in all their decisions. Whatever I need to know comes to me from the infinite presence within. Infinite intelligence is operating through me, revealing to me what I need to know. I radiate love, peace, and goodwill to all mankind in thought, word, and deed. I know that what I send out comes back to me 1,000-fold. God in me knows the answer. The perfect answer is made known to me now, for God is the eternal now. Now is the day of salvation, and now is the accepted time. Infinite intelligence and divine wisdom make all decisions through me, and there is only right action and right decision taking place in my life. I wrap myself in the mantle of that infinite ocean of love, and I know divine right decision is mine now. I am at peace. I walk in the light, full of faith and confidence and trust in the only power there is. I recognize the lead which comes into my conscious, reasoning mind. It is impossible for me to miss it. God speaks to me in peace, not in confusion. Thank you, Father, for the answer now. It's a wonderful prayer, and is used by thousands of people. Whenever you are wondering what to do or say, or what decision to make, sit quietly and affirm the truths which I just enunciated. Do this slowly, quietly, reverently, and with feeling. Do this about 3 times in a relaxed, peaceful mood, and you will receive the divine impulse, and you will experience the inner silent knowing of the soul, whereby you know that you know. Sometimes the answer comes as an inner feeling of certitude, a predominant hunch, or a spontaneous idea, which wells up clearly in your mind, like toast pops out of the toaster. Intuitively, you will recognize the right answer, the right decision to make. Make right decisions by creative and intelligent prayer. And prayer is realizing there is an infinite intelligence that responds to you. When you call upon it, it answers you. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. If you ask for bread, you will not receive a stone, meaning you get the embodiment of the ideal for which you requested. When you use the term logical, you mean that your judgment is reasonable, sound, valid, based on the rational principle of the universe, or the way a thing is, or that which is consistent and deducible. It is logical for you to think good, since only good can follow. It is illogical for you to think evil and to expect good, as seeds or thoughts grow after their kind. This is a mental and spiritual universe, and the mental law is always supreme. Logical decisions are always based upon that infinite wisdom which guides the planets in their course and causes the sun to shine. A saleslady in one of the department stores in Los Angeles was interested in the stock market for many years and had become a very successful investor. This young woman took a required course at night which qualified her for employment in a brokerage house. She had numerous interviews, but was unable to get employment because, as she said, of her sex. She said to me, "They just don't want women." I suggested that she come to a decision and affirm boldly, "I am now employed in a brokerage firm with a marvelous income consistent with integrity and justice." I explained to her that the minute she came to a decision in her mind and persisted in that decision, her subconscious mind would respond and open up the way by revealing the perfect plan for fulfillment of her ideal. I instructed her also to follow the lead which would come to her conscious reasoning mind. It's impossible to miss it. The sequel, of course, is interesting. A strong urge came to her to advertise in the local newspaper, offering to work free for 2 months and pointing out that she had a large circle of friends as potential customers. She had immediate offers from 3 firms, one of which she accepted. This shows that you must have faith in your ability to decide. And when you come to a clear-cut decision, backed by faith in the powers of your subconscious mind, wonders will happen in your life, and you will banish all frustration. People who fear to make decisions, or who are afraid to make choices, are actually refusing to recognize their own divinity, for the infinite indwells all men. It is your divine and cosmic right to choose and to make decisions. You can decide to be healthy, happy, prosperous, and successful because you have dominion over your world. Your subconscious mind is subject to the decrees of your conscious mind, and whatever you decree shall come to pass. The Bible says, "Whatsoever a man soweth in his subconscious mind, so also shall he reap." He shall reap it on the screen of space, as form, as function, as experience, and events. The law of your subconscious mind plays no favorites, no more so than any other law of nature. It is illogical to put your hand on a hot stove. If you do, you suffer the consequences. To jump off the roof of a high building is illogical, as the law of gravitation is impersonal and not vindictive in any way. It is illogical to believe that 2 and 2 make 5. It is foolish to go against the laws of nature, the immutable rules of the universe, the way things are. It's illogical to steal, because you're impoverishing yourself. You're attracting lack and limitation to yourself and building more misery in your life. Man once said to me, "I don't know what to do, or what is reasonable or logical, and I won't make a decision." I explained to him that he had made a decision. He had decided not to decide. Now, isn't that a very foolish decision? Isn't that illogical, unreasonable, unscientific? Of course it is. He had decided not to decide, which meant that he had decided to take what comes from the mass mind or the law of averages, in which we are all immersed. And it is very negative mind. Also, if he decided not to decide, the random mind would decide for him, inasmuch as he refused to govern his own mind. If you refuse to make a decision, are you going to let circumstances and conditions make a decision for you, your mother-in-law, your father-in-law? Or who is going to make a decision for you? If you don't think for yourself, someone else, and perhaps the thought of someone else is thinking in you, or perhaps the mass mind is thinking in you, Because if you don't choose your own thoughts, the mass mind, or the law of averages, chooses your thoughts for you. If there's any fear or worry or anxiety in your thinking, you are not thinking at all. It's the mass mind, or the law of averages, or the race mind thinking in you. Because true thinking is free from fear, free from anxiety. You're like an engineer. You're thinking from the standpoint of principles, eternal verities, eternal truths. Your thoughts are constructive. You're a straight-line thinker. So this man began to perceive that it was foolish for him not to do his own thinking, reasoning, and deducing, thereby permitting the law of averages, or the mass thinking of the race, to make decisions for him. It's very negative. The mass mind is full of fear, full of hate, jealousy, envy. There's some good in it. Most of it is highly negative. They believe in tragedies, misfortunes of all kinds. Now, surely to heavens, if you don't do your own thinking, someone else is going to do your thinking for you, and it's not going to be very good. If you don't choose your own emotions, who's going to choose it for you? So this man reversed his attitude and asserted positively, I believe in my power, my ability, and the integrity of my own mental and spiritual processes. And I asked myself, if I were God, what decision would I make? I know my motive is right, and my desire is to do the right thing. All my decisions are based upon the fact that infinite wisdom is making all decisions through me, and therefore it must be right action. Following this prayer, this man has made all business, professional, and family decisions, and he is leading a glorious and wonderful life. He has better health, increased efficiency, more love, more understanding, and prosperity along all lines. The infinite power backs up all your decisions. You are a self-conscious individual. You have the capacity to decide. It is wrong to let others decide for you, or to say, I will let God decide for me. When you say that, you mean a God outside yourself, a man up in the sky somewhere. The only way God or infinite intelligence will work for you is through you, through your own thought, your own imagery, your own decision. The God presence has done everything for you. It has created you and the universe. It gave you a conscious and subconscious mind. It gave you itself. Because the infinite or supreme intelligence, which is the presence of God, is within your subconscious depths. And you're here to use it. And you contact it through the medium of your own thought. So the infinite intelligence will work for you. It will work through you, through your own thought. In order for the universal to act on the individual plane, it must become the individual. As Judge Trord in his inimitable textbooks points out, that the universal will do nothing for you except through the particular. So it must become the particular in order to act. You are here to choose. You have volition and initiative. This is why you are an individual. Accept your divinity now and your responsibility and make decisions for yourself. The other does not know best. When you refuse to make decisions for yourself, you're actually rejecting your divinity, and you are thinking from the standpoint of weakness and inferiority, just like a slave and an underling. Acknowledge your divinity. You're a choosing volitional being. You're here to choose. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. Choose that whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are just, and whatsoever things are pure, and whatsoever things are honest, and of good report. Choose on these thoughts. Choose these thoughts. Decide to enthrone these thoughts in your mind, and stick to that decision. A confirmed alcoholic told me that a man once pointed a gun at his temple and told him he would shoot him through the head if he drank the whiskey in front of him. And he said, I had to drink it. I couldn't stop. It was a compulsive act. I didn't care whether or not he shot me. Yes, that showed you he had tremendous power. All the power of the infinite was behind that decision, you know. There's only one power. This is to point out to you that all the power of the infinite was behind that decision. He actually experienced according to his decision. He subsequently reversed this decision, and at my suggestion he declared solemnly for about 10 minutes, I have come to a definite conclusion in my mind, And my decision is that I am free from this curse of alcoholism. Through the infinite power which backs up this decision, I am completely free. I have peace of mind and sobriety, and I give thanks to the infinite now. This man has not touched any intoxicating beverages in over 5 years and is completely free of the habit. He's a new man. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that ye may approve what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Man shall decree a thing, shall come to pass, and the light shall shine upon him. But he came to a decision, and he meant it. The power was not in the bottle, the power was within him. And therefore all the power of the infinite is behind your decision. Therefore, choose ye this day whom you will serve. God is infinite, and infinity cannot be divided or multiplied. The Bible says, I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace, and I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. The Bible quotation dramatizes and portrays lucidly there's but one power which you can use to give you light, which means that when called upon consciously by you, infinite intelligence will cast light on any problem. All that's required is that you come to a clear-cut decision in your mind. You create darkness when you say, I'm stymied, I'm blocked, there's no way out. That's a foolish decision. The infinite knows the way. It only knows the answer. By your conscious decree saying there's no way out, I'm stymied, it's hopeless. That's your decision. It's a wrong one. It's illogical, unreasonable, unscientific. It's foolish. By your conscious decree, when you have adopted this mental attitude, you are saying infinite intelligence does not know the way out. And according to your decision, you live in the darkness and confusion created by your ignorance or misuse of the law, or failure to come to the right decision. You create peace by dwelling mentally in whatsoever things are true, lovely, noble, and godlike. You create evil in your experience by thinking negatively, viciously, and destructively. In other words, ask yourself this question: how am I using this power? What kind of a decision have I arrived at? Decide that you're going to use the power constructively, harmoniously, and according to its nature, you will then call it God in action. When you use it destructively, negatively, and contrary to its nature, men call it Satan, the devil, misery and suffering and pain and aches and so forth. There is a wonderful power within you. Learn how to use it. Last year I interviewed a man who had gone bankrupt a short time previously. He had developed ulcers and high blood pressure and was, as he said, in a mess. He believed there was a curse following him, that God was punishing him for his past sins, that God had it in for him, and that he was now reaping his just deserts. All these were false beliefs in his mind. I explained to him just as long as he believed there was a jinx following him, he would suffer, for the simple reason that man's beliefs take form as experiences, conditions, and events. I told him he had to come to a clear-cut decision, a definite decision in his mind, that there was only one power, and that power was moving as unity, as harmony, as peace, as love, and the tendency of that life is to heal and to restore. Therefore, he affirmed, came to this decision: there is but one Creator, one presence, one power. This power is within me as my mind and spirit. This presence moves through me as harmony, health, and peace. I think, speak, and act from the standpoint of infinite intelligence. I know that thoughts are things. What I feel I attract, what I imagine I become. I constantly dwell on these truths. I have come to a clear-cut decision that divine right action governs my life. Divine law and order reign supreme and operate in all phases of my life. Divine guidance is mine. Divine success is mine. Divine prosperity is mine. Divine love fills my soul. Divine wisdom governs all my transactions. Whenever fear or worry come into my mind, I affirm immediately, God is guiding me now, or God knows the answer. I make a habit of this, and I know that miracles are happening in my life. He prayed out loud in this manner 5 or 6 times daily. At the end of a month, his health was restored, and he was taken in as a partner in a growing concern. His whole life had been transformed. He came to a decision. There was only one power, that power moving as unity, as harmony, as health and peace. There are no divisions or quarrels in that power. Nothing to oppose it, thwart it, vitiate it, or interfere with it. The new idea, the new decision, arrived at in his mind, became his master, and compelled him to express the riches of life. Ideas are our masters. According to our decision is it done unto us. Enthrone in your mind the divine ideas, and watch that wonders that happen as you pray. There's a wonderful power within you. Begin to use it now. It's the almighty power. It's the one alone who lives in the hearts of all men. The Bible says, let your words be yea, yea, and no, no. Anything more than this is evil. Say yes. Come to a decision. Say yes to all ideas and truths which heal, bless, inspire, elevate, and dignify your soul. Say no, definitely, positively, and absolutely, to all negative thoughts, to anything that would instill fear into your mind, that would drag you down, that would create doubt in your mind. Reject all these suggestions as unfit for the house of God. These two words, come to a decision about them. Say yes to health, to happiness, to peace, to the abundant life. Say no to sickness, to misery and suffering and lack. Reject these ideas. Reject any suggestion or any thought that does not fill your soul with joy. Reject any suggestion that does not give you more confidence and more faith in yourself. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today is the old saying, an old maxim, an old aphorism. Procrastination is the thief of time. Yes, if you're putting it off and you're wondering what I shall do and when I'm going to decide, maybe next week, and you'll become misery, you'll become neurotic, frustrated, unhappy. You're placing yourself in bondage. If your motivation is good, if it looks good to you, come to a decision. It's far better to do something right now than do nothing. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your heart is your subconscious mind, the seat of your emotions and feelings. Therefore, whatever thought or image you have in your mind now, your feeling nature, that's the spirit within you, begins to flow through that matrix or mold. So your thought and feeling create your destiny. Your thought and feeling create everything in your life. Mold and fashion your destiny. Whatever you think and feel to be true comes to pass. Come to a decision now. A man said to me that he was offered two positions. They both looked good to him. And the man was going to call him up at 2 o'clock and he wanted an answer. He said, I have no particular feeling about either one of them. They both look good. They're about the same. I said, when the man calls at 2 o'clock and your motives are good, you have no ulterior motives, it looks good to you, pronounce it good, and whatever you say to him, the first thought that comes to you when he calls up, just whatever you say, yes or no, will be right. So he said yes. And I said, when your motivation is right and thing looks good to you, what on earth are you afraid of? There's a principle of right action, there's no principle of wrong action. And therefore you pronounce it good. And it turned out to be good, you pronounce it good. In Tokyo a few years ago, I talked to a man in the hotel. He was 90 years of age, he was on crutches, and he was an American. We talked for quite a while, and he said, when I was 60 years of age, I wanted to go around the world. He said, I want to take my wife on a trip around the world. And he said, I postponed it. I said, I'll wait until my daughter grows up or get married. And he said, now I'm crippled with arthritis and I can't take a trip around the world. He postponed it. He didn't give himself or his wife the joy of that trip. He refused to come to a decision. He postponed it later on until his daughter grew up and got married, all of which is nonsense, for your good is right now. You don't wait for anything. You take it now, because a trip around the world has nothing to do with your daughter getting married or remaining single. Nothing at all to do with it. It has to do with you. Make up your mind. Come to a clear-cut decision. And if your motivation is right, that decision is right, it's got in action right now. Make up your mind now. Our Do you want your relatives to make up your mind, to make a decision for you? Are conditions going to force you, or circumstances? Pray and claim that an infinite intelligence is guiding you now. Accept a guiding principle within you. Claim right action. There's a principle of guidance within you. It's just the same as if it were not there, except you use it. And the first intuitive impulse that comes to you is usually the right answer. You're told in the Bible that Peter went down to the lake. He cast a line, and he was told, take up the first fish up, look in the mouth, and take the coin. Pay the tax for thee and for me. What does it mean? I am the great fish that swimmeth in the deep. That's your subconscious mind, where all fish or ideas are. That's where the scientist gets his answer, the archaeologist, the paleontologist, the physician. The answer comes out of the depths. You fish an answer out for anything you want in life. And therefore that pays your tax, doesn't it? The engineer is taxed for patience. He's taxed for his knowledge of engineering. The chemist is taxed. The doctor is taxed if he has a 6-hour operation, his ingenuity, his skill, his knowledge, his faith, his confidence. You're taxed for your love at times too, aren't you? And therefore you have to come to a decision, you're taxed, and when you come to a decision, you paid your tax. You paid your tax. And then you do away with frustration and confusion and anger and misery. Say, take the first fish up, you see, and open the mouth, and the coin is there. Well, of course, you don't take that literally, but it's a marvelous way of realizing an answer to your prayer. When you pray for guidance and you want to make a decision, you say, infinite intelligence is guiding me. There's right action in my life. There's an overshadowing presence in which I live and move and have my being. It opens up the door for me. I follow the lead which comes to me clearly. I turn it over now to the deeper mind, and I go on about my business. Then the first thought that comes to you, the first idea, the first thing that wells up within you, that's your answer. It comes out of the depths of yourself. It's the first fish up. You don't argue with it. Don't talk to your relatives about it. If you do, you'll have 20 thoughts all of a sudden in your mind. It's that inner sense of touch, that inner silent knowing of the soul. So it's the first fish up. Sometimes when you go to sleep at night, try this. Say, infinite intelligence reveals to me the answer, reveals the right decision for me. When I awaken, the first thought I have in the morning will be the answer. Then what's the first thought you have in the morning? But don't go around pacing the floor and wondering about it. The answer will come to you. You're claiming divine law and order in your life. Claim divine right action in your life. Divine law and order means that the law of harmony, beauty, love, peace, abundance are operating in your subconscious rather than man-made laws, rather than creeds and dogmas and tradition. It also means that you're expressing yourself at your highest level. You're releasing your hidden talents in a wonderful way, consistent with integrity and honesty. It also means that you're receiving marvelous and wonderful compensation. Because if you don't have all the money you need to do when you want all the money you need when you want to use it, it should be there. It should be available. It should be in circulation. When you're able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, you're as rich as Croesus. That's divine law and order. Certainly, if you can't buy your wife a new car if she needs one, that's not divine law and order. There's something frightfully wrong. So you believe in right action. There's a principle of right action. There's no principle of wrong action. So when you hear a person saying, well, maybe I'll do something wrong, why don't you turn around and believe there's a principle of right action, like the wheels in your automobile have to be around. If they're not around, you'll kill yourself. That's right action. Claim that you're under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He's my refuge, my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Isn't that a wonderful prayer for guidance and right action, your 91st Psalm? I dwell in the secret place. That's your own mind where you walk and talk with God. I abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I'll say of the Lord, the lordly power. He's my refuge, my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. He covers me with His feathers, and under His wings shall you rest. Why then should you worry or be fearful about doing the right thing? No, you're under a guiding principle. And the angels, you're told, will watch over you. Angels are the intelligence and the wisdom, the creative ideas that well up within you. So you're guided to your true place. You're guided to do the right thing, for the highest and the best begins to move through you. Put God first in your life, and God is the supreme intelligence which started your heartbeat. It governs all the vital organs. It watches over you. It tendencies to heal and to restore. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. Choose harmony. Choose right action. And choose beauty. Choose abundance and security in your life. Choose these things, because the higher self is God, and that almighty power will move in your behalf, but you must turn to it. Call upon me, and I will answer you. Decide with your mind, not with your emotions. Here's a man got mad at the boss, you know. Oh, yes, he's full of bitterness, hostility, so he says he told the boss off, and he quit in a huff. He took another job, and he said to me, I have more problems in this job than I had in the previous job. You see, he made a decision on the basis of anger, resentment, hostility, his emotions. He was carried away by his emotions. No, you make decisions based upon true judgment, based upon wisdom and understanding. Reason the thing out. Study the pros and cons, and be rational and reasonable. So he realized his decision was wrong. And make a decision on the basis of factual rationality. Reason the thing out. Does it seem reasonable, logical to you? Assemble the facts together. Get all the data you can. And try and solve it objectively, which is what you should do. Use no mental coercion, no force. Don't grit your teeth and clench your fist. Don't say I must get an answer at a certain time, or the judge must give me a decision on the 15th of April. That's nonsense. Do everything you can objectively, quietly, and with faith and with confidence. If no clear answer is indicated, well, you feel good about it, and the situation looks good to you, the investment or whatever it is, go ahead and do it. Always remember, if your motivation is right, and you're praying for guidance and right action, and something looks good to you, go ahead. Say, is God in action? Pronounce it good. Why should you hesitate? Why should you vacillate and waver? Why become a neurotic? Why become frustrated? Come to a decision. Come to a decision quickly. The clear impression that comes to you when someone calls you on the phone and says, I must have an answer now, I'm on the phone. And you have been praying about it and thinking about it, whatever you say will be right. Empty out all preconceived notions. A man said to me one time, do you think I've arrived at the right decision? Well, I said to him, is it based upon the golden rule and the law of love? And then he got red in the face. Well, I said, you answered your own question. If your decision is to take advantage of someone, pull the wool over somebody's eyes, or cheat him, or so forth, whatever decision you'd arrive in such a case would be wrong, because to hurt the other is to hurt yourself. So is your decision based upon the golden rule and the law of love. Love is wishing for everyone what you wish for yourself. When you love another, you love to see the other become and express all they long to become and express. There are women, I talk to women 40 and 50 years of age. Mother made all decisions for them. When you allow that, you're robbing yourself of your own initiative, your own experience, your own divinity, because the God presence is within you. I said ye are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High. So you're here to choose, to come to a decision, to mold and fashion your own destiny. Learn to make decisions. Start now. After you're 7 or 8 years of age, you should begin to learn to make decisions to some degree, with supervision, of course. But when you're 18 years of age, you should certainly make your own decisions and move out of home and establish your own apartment, roll up your sleeves, and get busy. Learn to make decisions, yes, and exercise your initiative. And one man said, when I'm confused and mixed up a little bit, he said, and I'm sincere and I prayed about it, and sometimes I flip a coin. But he said, I know that any kind of action is better than inaction, so I come to a decision. If you're going on the road to San Francisco and you're on the wrong road, and some man stops you and he said, turn to the right, that's the right road, you found out you were wrong. Now you're right, aren't you? You're on the right road, so what? You made a mistake, Everybody makes mistakes. When you went to school, didn't you make hundreds of them? That's why you had a rubber on the end of your pencil, you know. Everybody, including mother and father, knew you'd make mistakes. So as you continue to make decisions, you have a new zest and a new thrill. Things are not in the saddle. Circumstances can't create circumstances. Conditions are not creative. There are no powers outside you. You don't give power to a created thing. You do not give power to the phenomenalistic world. You give power to the Creator, and that's the supreme intelligence within you. Avoid indecisiveness, which attends much religious prayer. People say, is it right for me to pray for wealth? How absurd, how ridiculous. Is it right for me to pray for success? Maybe God doesn't want me to succeed. That is stupidity. It is jungle philosophy. It is too stupid for words. Does God want me to sing? Well, if God gave you a voice, He wants you to sing. The singing capacity is within you. If you're able to sing and that quality is within you, go ahead and sing. You don't wait for God to sing. God will sing through you. God is the only presence and power. You have the desire to paint, go ahead and paint. If you love animals and all that, or if you'd love to be a chemist or something, or a musician, go ahead and follow the lead which comes to you. People say, is it right that I should pray for a car? What is a car? An idea in the mind of God, that's all a car is. It's the Spirit of God made manifest. It's God outside your door taking the form of a car. For there's only God, there's nothing else but God. God is Spirit, and the grass is God too. The clothes you wear is God. God and goods are synonymous. You go into a store and you say goods. Well, what are you talking about? God and good are the same. And the goods are Spirit made manifest. The apple on a tree is Spirit made manifest. There's only Spirit. Everything is made inside and out of it. The material world is Spirit made manifest. So everything you touch is the Spirit made manifest. Such questions as, is it right for me and all that? Is it right, you might as well say, is it right for me to get married? How absurd these things are. They're based on superstition, ignorance, and fear. Such questions as these rob the mind of decision and force. If you pray for guidance, a higher form of prayer, you will overcome your theological concepts, because your higher self will teach you as you go along. The Spirit of truth will lead you to all truth. You say, God is guiding me now. Right action reigns supreme. The Spirit of truth leads me to all truth. You've come to a marvelous decision. Be definite. Have goals. Announce purposes. Your receipts will be offset by your liabilities, as in all business. Your prayer is answered to the level of your belief. Your consciousness is what you know consciously and subconsciously. If you pray for prosperity, success, achievement, and victory, and you say, come to a decision, say, prosperity is mine now. I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to have all the wealth I need to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Your subconscious will respond. And also the answer will be filtered through your present state of mind. Raise your sights, and you'll go where your vision is. You know, a merchant in the Far East, they do that, Egypt and other places. They set the price very high. The tourist comes in, he's supposed to bargain. They'll come down, you know, there'll be several markdowns. They'll still make a profit. Well, now, negative beliefs in your mind. If you're praying for prosperity and success and achievement, and you're jealous of others, or their promotion, or the 6 cars he has in the garage, or the $1 million that he has, then that negation, that resentment, that envy, that jealousy blocks your good and inhibits your growth and, of course, interferes with your prosperity. It's like Frederick the Great, you know. He collected a lot of money, at least his agents did, and he said, what happens to all the money we collect? So it was a hot day, and his members of his cabinet were around the table. There was a bowl of ice there and some water with some ice in it. One man took up a little piece of the ice and passed it around men's hands. When it got to the king, it was a very small piece. He said, that, sire, is the answer. All right. So if you are down on yourself, or you're jealous or envious of others, you are inhibiting the flow of that infinite ocean of riches through you. And therefore wish for everyone what you wish for yourself, for love is the fulfilling of the law, and love is goodwill, wishing for everything what you wish for yourself. Negatives of the mind, regrets, remorse, hate, peeves, grudges, looking to externals, giving power to people and conditions and circumstances, they all cut down on the riches of the infinite. Give all your allegiance and devotion. Let your expectation be from him who giveth to all life, breath, and all things. Get it straight. Come to that decision. Look to the source. Then, as you do that, come to the decision. So from the depths of my heart, I wish for every person in the world the riches of the infinite, health and happiness and peace and all the blessings of life. Then watch the flow of vitality and riches to you. This is what holds so many people back, because they're down on themselves, they're full of remorse and peeves and grudges and all that sort of thing, and they don't even get a healing with that attitude of mind. They don't prosper either. Real success is spiritual development, you see. So stop carping criticism, because that cuts down on the quality of good you receive. Exalt God in the midst of you, mighty to heal. Yes, there is the boy, you know. When he's young, he sees a bottle of milk and he steals it. And from there he goes on, stealing other things, apples and all that. And then the sum total of his choices land him in jail. So the reason the man is in the pen or he's in jail, that's the sum total of his choices. That's all we are. But that's an illogical decision to steal the bottle of milk, because it induces fear. He says the policeman isn't looking, so fear, apprehension. Also, he's impoverishing himself and attracting lack and limitation to himself. Whenever you make a decision, remember the power of the Almighty backs it up, whether it's false or whether it is good. If you see a illogical decision, like the boy stealing a bottle of milk, we're simply using the power of the infinite against ourselves. There is the power of reason within you. There's the principle of life, knows how to protect itself. It's within you. It heals a cut on your finger. It wakes you up. If you say, I want to wake up at 3 in the morning, it wakes you up, whether there's a clock in the room or not, or whether there's a storm or the clock has stopped. So there's an intelligence within you that governs all your vital organs, your breathing and all that. It seeks to heal and to restore you. The infinite cannot punish you. Life cannot punish. The absolute cannot punish. The law doesn't punish. Man punishes himself by his negative, destructive thinking, by his misuse of law. A good judge doesn't punish. He just invokes the law. So cease making illogical decisions. Learn the simple truth. I said ye are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High, and that you are the temple of the living God, and the kingdom of God is within you. Therefore, the infinite wisdom and the infinite power is within you. And if you were God, what decision would you make? You'd make a decision on right action, on harmony, and peace, and love, and goodwill, wouldn't you? You would begin to think and speak and act from the standpoint of the infinite center, from the infinite power. You wouldn't make any decisions from the standpoint of some old theologian, or what your grandmother said, or something of that nature. You'd say, there's a guiding principle within me, and I'm going to make decisions according to that guiding principle, which is absolute harmony and absolute peace. So I said ye are gods, yes, and all of you are sons of the Most High. So that God presence is within you, boundless wisdom, infinite intelligence. So stop denying your divinity. Your grandmother doesn't know best. And when you want to get married, come to a decision and say, infinite intelligence attracts to me the right person, man or woman, who harmonizes with me in every way. The deeper currents of my mind bring both of us together. And trust the infinite intelligence, and don't ask your mother, your grandmother, whether you should marry the man or the woman, because then you're denying your own divinity. You're saying, look, I can choose, which of course you can. That's your prerogative. There's the person says, if God had wanted me to be well, he'd heal me. This, of course, is a sort of blasphemy. For the tendency of life is to heal and to restore. When you burn yourself, it proceeds to reduce the edema and gives you new skin and tissue. When you cut yourself, it forms thrombin and builds a bridge across the cut and seeks to heal you, kills the germs when they invade your body too. So there's one mind common to all individual men, as Emerson said, and you're here to make choices. And you're an organ of God, and God had need of you where you are, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And therefore, you're here to reproduce all that's true of the infinite. So you can make decisions that are normal, rational, logical, and reasonable. Therefore, the tendency of life, the will of God for you, is a greater measure of life, love, truth, and beauty. So it's foolish and superstition, rank superstition, to say if God wanted to heal me, he would heal me. That's blasphemy, because you're telling a lie about the infinite. You're lying about the infinite being. I have seen men and women live together in hate and resentment for many years rather than get a divorce. They said they were thinking in terms of the children. Well, the children grow up in the image and the likeness of the dominant mental and emotional climate of the home. The children became delinquents, were sick all the time, because the atmosphere of the home was hatred, resentment, hostility, and rage. That's a frightful way to live. Come to a decision. Realize it's far more decent, honorable, and godlike to break up a lie than live a lie. It's a frightful thing to do, to live a lie and contaminate the minds of all those around you. At least you have respect for the woman who got a divorce, much more so than the woman who's living a lie for 20 and 25 years. There are people fearful to make a decision, sometimes because of religious, sometimes because of political and financial reasons. And some of them would rather get cancer, tuberculosis, and arthritis than break up a lie. Many people decide every day to do something about it, but they do nothing at all about it. All the power of life is within you now, enabling you to make your decision right now. It's illogical to live a lie. Then I have seen people come to a logical decision. They said, I will arise and go to my father. They say, I will not live this way anymore. It takes two to make a go of marriage, or make a business prosperous. If two men are in business and one is drunk all the time insulting the customers, the house is divided and certainly they're going to go broke. The thing for them to do is dissolve the partnership and bless each other and go on about their business and make a decision to lead a full and happy life. But it's wrong to live that way. If the two agree to do the right thing and practice the golden rule and the law of love, that's a different thing. Do what you're supposed to do. You're equipped to do it. There's a guiding principle within you. God wants you to be happy. You're here to reproduce all that's true of God. You're here to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. That should be your decision. Your decision should be to lead a full and happy life. God gave you richly all things to enjoy. God made you rich, why then are you poor? I am come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Heretofore you asked for nothing. Now ask that your joy might be full. And in Him there is fullness of joy. In Him there is no darkness at all. The power of life is there. There is no such thing, as I said before, as indecision. There is only decision. So a person who decides not to decide, then, the mass mind makes a decision for you and your life will be a mess. For that mass mind believes in tragedies and difficulties and chaos and misfortune of all kinds. Most of it is highly negative. Surely you don't want that movie into your mind. If you do not come to a decision every morning to charge your mental and spiritual batteries with godlike truths, who then will do your thinking for you? Who will govern your emotions? Who will govern your mood? Who's choosing your emotions? Yes, the power and the wisdom of the infinite is within you, and you're here to use it. Come to the waters and drink. He that hath no money, yea, let him come. Buy wine and milk without money, without price, and the price is belief, is recognition. It's assumption. Assume there's an almighty power, and your assumptions, as Churchill said, harden into facts. If you're up in the mountain and you're fishing, and you lost your way, for example, in the mountain stream, and you see an old man of the woods, and you say, "How can I get back to the main road?" And he tells you exactly how to go. You follow him. You find he's right. You assumed what he said is right, and it hardened into effect, didn't it? Likewise, assume there's an infinite intelligence within you. It started your heartbeat, grows hair on your face, digests your food. It watches over your sound asleep. It wakes you up if you suggest particular times you go to sleep. If you're seeking an answer to an investment and say infinite intelligence reveals to me the answer about this investment, it seeks to heal you. You may wake up in the morning and you have a persistent feeling not to touch it. That's the voice of the divine answering you. Don't touch it. I talk to women, I've talked to hundreds of them. They said, "I knew as I was walking up the aisle to marry that man, I shouldn't have done it." You see, that lingering feeling that you have within you, sort of a hunch, a predominant feeling, the life principle seeking to protect them, and they ignored it. They rejected it, and of course they had to get a divorce. Follow that thing when you come. It's that inner sense of touch. Well, like the man prayed about an investment recently in Nevada. And he said, "Infinite intelligence is guiding me, reveals to me and to my wife the right thing to do regarding this investment in Nevada." All right, he came to a decision that there was a guiding principle. There's no if, there's no but, there's no and. And then according to that decision was done unto him. He had a dream in the middle of the night where he saw these men in prison garb around them, and a guard with a gun at the door. He woke up and he knew he was dealing with con men who had served time. And had he invested, he would have lost everything. Yes, but you have to come to a decision that there is a guiding principle within you. And wonders then will happen in your life. When you have what you term a difficult decision to make, or when you fail to see the solution to your problem, begin at once to think constructively about it. If you're fearful and worried, you're not really thinking. True thinking is free from fear. Quiet the mind, still the body. Tell your body to relax, it has to obey you. Your body has no volition, initiative, or self-conscious intelligence. Your body is an emotional disk which records your beliefs and impressions. Mobilize your attention. Focus your thought on the solution to your problem. Try to solve it like a detective does with your conscious mind. Think how happy you would be about the perfect solution. Get all the information you can. Sense the feeling you would have if the perfect answer were yours now. Let your mind play with this mood in a relaxed way. And if you're going to sleep, then drop off to sleep, contemplating the answer. When you awaken and you do not have the answer, get busy about something else. Probably, when you are preoccupied with something else, the answer will come into your mind, like toast pops out of a toaster. In receiving guidance from your subconscious mind, the simple way is the best. A man lost a valuable ring, which was an heirloom. He looked everywhere for it and could not locate it. At night he talked to the subconscious in the same manner that I'm talking to you. He said to it prior to dropping off to sleep. He's talking to his higher self. He came to a decision that there's nothing lost in the infinite. He said to his higher self, "You know all things, you're all wise, you're omnipresent. You know where that ring is, and you are now revealing to me where it is." That's called prayer. That's coming to a decision. That's not mumbo-jumbo. In the morning he awoke suddenly with the words ringing in his ear. Ask Robert. Well, Robert happened to be his son. And he asked Robert about it. And he said, "Oh yes, I picked it up in the yard while I was playing with the boys. I placed it on the desk in my room. I did not think it worth anything, so I didn't say anything about it. It only knows the answer. When you call upon it, it'll answer you, it'll be with you in trouble. It will set you on high because you have known its name. And in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. It is written, He careth for you. God knows only the answer.